I wish I could give you the feeling of solidity and lightness. I haven't ever had it with any other process. It's genuinely thrilling.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave with a rare tested show and tell. I'm here with my old colleague John Duncan. How are you, sir?
Howdy do.
John and I worked at Industrial Light and Magic back in the day, and we had a secret R2-D2 Builders Club there.
Yeah, we were working on episode 2 at the time.
Yeah, because we were across the street from...
Yeah, and we had all the R2s down from the archives to be refurbished, cleaned up, because they'd all been painted different colors and repaired and damaged and what have you.
And it's really neat to have them all out and about. Kenny Baker's was like, I just couldn't stop looking
Those were the jewels. Like Don B's brought out those pictures of them before they got painted back on New Hope.
The all aluminum R2s are the most beautiful objects.
Like jewels.
So we started taking measurements.
Yeah, well, we all were sitting around. I remember sitting around in the laser room, because a lot of us were in there. And we're all like, oh man, I always wanted an R2 when I was growing up. And here we are with the parts, we can't have them because, we get fired. And so then, I don't know if it was you or somebody goes,
remember.
Well, we're all pretty good at making stuff. So...
And that was our agreement, that we would all make our own R2-D2s, but we wouldn't use any parts from the real thing. We'd just take measurements.
But we could take measurements off of real parts, so we knew exactly how big they needed to be.
I remember specifically, since I think Don B's had seniority to all of us. I was making a lot of aluminum masters. I was doing a lot of the machining for the little Greeblies.
Oh, yeah.
And the masters would go to Don. And then I'd make castings of them, and we all got sets of castings.
Yeah, I did a full set of aluminum parts.
Of course I did, too.
I was like, we got the drawings.
And we called it Romeo Delta, which are the radio call signs for R and D.
Yeah, well, then it's top secret.
Yes, exactly. I finished first. It took me 5 years.
Yeah, you were the first. And we were all like, oh, man, he's done already. And we're just like, we've got like bodies that are sanded, and that's about it.
One of the things that I noticed, and I'm sure you did too, measuring R2s, is that none of them are equivalent to each other in substantive ways.
No, and I did a whole build report on my R2 and the RPF. And that's one of the things I brought up was like accuracy. Because there is no quintessential R2.
Nope.
There is no R2 that exists today that is exactly as it was when it was first made back on New Hope.
And even I think I've handled 3 of the original aluminum ones out of 6. And even they aren't cross-compatible.
Yeah, because there's the variations in parts and damage over the years and repairs and God knows what else has happened to them over
they have been... What I think is so hilarious is that like in the builders group, everyone works very hard to make hidden hinges. And on set, we Dremel a little notch and put a hardware store hinge in there and spray paint it white and put it on set.
Nah, they'll never see it.
You'll never notice. But you have been figuring out the original assembly method for R2, which was all built by out-of-work aerospace engineers, from my understanding.
Yeah, well, and they, I'm told it's Pedrick Engineering?
NORAC Engineering?
Or
I remember hearing NORAC is, look, there's
Okay.
It's just people are yelling at the screen. Hey, let us know in the comments what we're getting wrong.
Somebody's going to tell us right. Anyway, but they used a lot of like, just thin metal material. I mean, there's some thicker stuff as structure inside, but a lot of the paneling is all just, really thin
it's like
plating.
030, like
it's like 30,000.
And mild aluminum too.
Yeah, because it has to be formable.
I remember the first time I was working on the 232 leg conversion for the Queenship sequence, and I had to redo the whole pneumatics of of one of the original R2s.
Okay. Yes, yeah.
The one built for the 323. And
I was told that it was terrifying to have that
thing would take your hand off.
Yeah.
Oh no, because it was like push a button and the whole thing, whoop, boom! Absolutely terrifying. And the British and American pneumatic systems are close, but not compatible. So the parts look this. I basically I was like throwing good money after bad. I had to strip it all out. But in stripping it out, I pulled off a few panel pieces of R2, and I was like, oh my God, these are like pieces of jewelry. They feel so light. And I thought at that time that it was TIG welded, but it's not.
Well, and I've known some TIG welders who can like weld aluminum cans.
Oh, yeah,
that's good. That's not me.
No, that will never be me.
Not me. To the best of my knowledge, I've been able to sort out that a lot of it was brazed. I mean, there probably was some welding that happened.
But I bet that I don't think a lot of people understand that aluminum can be brazed. I don't think of it that it's thought of as a brazeable material.
It is trickier, but it's doable. And there are a number of companies that make brazing rods for it.
Can I touch this part?
Absolutely.
So this is one of the, oh my God, this is what they feel like.
Yeah.
Dude, this looks so exactly perfect.
Well,
it's exactly how the originals were built. Okay,
yeah.
So we've got a cooking show here. And you're going to walk me through the steps, and I'm fascinated. So
this is what it takes to build your parts. So these two are side vents. I'm sorry, I forgot to bring the other 4 of these.
Oh, okay. We'll have to. We can cut them though.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And these are the only ones that are made out of something thicker. This was something else I posted about, was that it's actually a trapezoidal cross section.
Oh, it's not square.
It's not square. And actually that's backed up by the plans that people have. There was a fellow who contacted me through the RPF, and he says, "Oh, this verifies what I've always said about what the blueprints showed." And so it was like, well, yep, there it is. But
little tiny details like making that trapezoidal.
Yeah. And then what? So these are just cut separately, and then they're just laid in here. You could weld them in or tack them in or whatever, but I just put them on with double stick to.
Okay.
It makes life easier.
I was wondering about that, the super thick material with the super thin material. I was wondering if there were issues doing that kind of brazing, but you didn't even worry about it.
I didn't even bother trying.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So these, I can't remember what these vents are called in the.
These are called pocket vents. These are called side vents.
All right.
Really
so we're gonna, and they're both
nomenclature,
and they're basically the same kind of construction.
It's pretty. Yeah, they're basically the same in the same sizes too, except for the length and the fact that this one has a pocket.
So it has a lot of cross-compatible pieces.
Absolutely. Yeah. The pieces that go across the top are the same on both of these, and then and obviously the bottom's different.
Dude, how are you getting these little gentle arcs with the bend? I'm assuming you're making the bend first.
I make the bend first, and then I made custom jigs that.
Does it press them into the form, or do you
kind
roll
of
it?
Yeah, it actually presses into the form, and then I have to go in with a hammer and kind of chase the edge because the edge wants to flare up.
Sure.
And then the other fun part is these guys, because
on mine I made that bottom flat.
It's not a flat bottom.
It's not.
No, it's not.
And wait a minute.
And the sides actually go straight in as opposed to radial.
Okay.
From the outside edge.
Which is both of my parameters. I was wrong.
I don't know why they did that, but that's the way the original was done, so that's why I'm duplicating it that way.
And so this is a single piece with the 4 sides.
Yeah, the 4 sides fold up, and then I have 2 separate press jigs. One that forms the box, and then another one that changes the box into the arc. So
I appreciate you're doing all that work in advance of our cooking show here.
Yeah, that would have taken a little while to do. So I'm like, we only got so much time.
All right, well, let's get to brazing.
All righty. So here's an interesting story.
Yeah.
The one that I was copying of these had in the pocket, there was a little couple holes for LEDs and a little hole for like a switch.
I remember that one.
Yeah. Come to find out, that one is from the original RC R2.
The original RC from Star Wars, from New Hope.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm referring to these as New Hope versions. Yeah. I remember seeing some photos and magazines or whatever, and you see a little light or something in there. And then there was another person on the RPF that pointed out, it's like, is that the one from this? And I was like, maybe? I don't know. But that was just like kind of a cool little bit. It's like, I have provenance of what I was copying.
Dude, that original one, when you look at all of the electronics that like took up most of the inside of the head, it's such an incredible build considering the technologies they were working with.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, so where do we start with the assembly process?
Well, I was just going to cover what brazing is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By all means, please.
So brazing sort of lives in that space between soldering and welding.
And it's definitely in between soldering and welding in terms of the mechanical robustness.
Right. Now, I'm not an expert on it at all, but aluminum presents an interesting problem with any sort of like joinery like that, is because it oxidizes so quickly.
Right.
It has this clear oxidization. You don't see it like rust, on steel, but there's an oxidization layer that protects it from crud from the outside.
And that oxidation layer forms very quickly.
Really quickly, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to sand it to expose the raw aluminum, and then it's going to start oxidizing pretty quickly. But also, as part of the brazing process, you are dragging the stick across it so that it's actually like scraping through that layer a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And that actually helps it bond.
I mean, so the issue with aluminum oxide is that aluminum oxide itself is one of the hardest substances on Earth, right? So we use it for sandpaper.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's on the surface of all these.
And so what you're telling me is that there's, usually with steel and other material brazing, there's a flux that creates a non-oxidation envelope around the braze, but we don't use a flux here. We're literally just pulling off the oxidation layer and going quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is, because the temperature that it takes to braze is around 700 degrees. The melting point of the aluminum is around 1100, 1200 degrees. So we're getting close to the melting point, especially on something so thin.
This is literally the thickness of like 8 sheets of paper.
So, it's a little tricky. So the idea is we want to sneak up on it, take it nice and slow, heat the whole thing evenly, and we'll work our way up from there. I have some scraps here we can practice on, and then before we put yours together.
Now, there's also another thing you've been adhering to, which I noticed, which is really specific to any kind of jewelry soldering or brazing, which is that you've already made sure that the gap between the parts is as non-existent as possible. That you have a nice fidelity of join here. Because you don't want to try and use those things as gap fillers.
Yeah, no, I mean, we do a little bit of filling on the surface. I mean, you can see it on here because it's oxidized more.
Right.
You can see the dark area, that's the filler.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, when you first do it, it's fairly relatively invisible, but
and then it starts to show up.
But that's what makes R2 look like R2.
Do you find that there are different alloys that braze better or worse, or are you just working with a soft alloy?
I've only worked with this one.
I'm told that. No worries. No, it makes total sense. I've only just started using brazing of steel in my shop, and it's only because I haven't had hand torches that were hot enough until now.
Well, and I guess the other beauty of brazing is that it's used a lot for dissimilar materials.
Right,
if you're putting a chunk of bronze on a steel thing or whatever. So.
It's a super robust joint compared to even silver soldering, which is something I like to use when I'm doing brass work. All right, so then the first step of any joint is doing a fresh sand on the surfaces to mate. Do you use a popsicle stick sander or steel wool?
I just use like 320 grit or something like that.
I'll grab a sheet of it.
Fine grit that breaks the surface.
There we go.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so I did the face of this.
Okay.
And then if you're going to join that to something like this, you do the edge of that too,
yeah,
right?
just a quick like. And then we've doctored up some clips.
Oh, this is your clamp system. That's why I put the notch in the... Oh, that's clever.
It works better with a sheet. But
so it's really specifically for this joint. The binder clip allows that fin to be accommodated for.
Yeah. Because underneath there's the crossover. Eventually that gets ground away, but
that seems really nice and straightforward.
Okay, and it's nice because then this thing helps keep everything on the same plane.
Yep. Oh, I like that. And so then, all right, we're gonna bring this over here to my persuasion. I want a high heat, right?
You want a high heat, but you don't want to be like overwhelming it.
Okay.
This is a thin metal. Yeah, I kind of turn it down a bit. All right, so first, just warm up the whole length of everything. Aluminum is a great heat sink, so it sucks all the heat away.
Right, so you want to get the whole thing a certain temperature.
Yeah. And then what you'll do is you'll take the end And you want the heat of the base metal to warm this. So you'll kind of...
Oh, wow. That was so fast. And then does it sink in when you do that? It
A
doesn't.
little bit, yeah. Just a tiny bit.
Okay.
There you go. That's plenty. Yeah, I don't want to get it too hot.
Yeah.
And
now it's cooling.
Something I forgot to bring was
What's that?
gloves.
Oh, I have plenty of gloves.
But yeah, you can see how it kind of flatted out there.
Yeah.
a little bit. But you can feel the heat coming off of it. That's
Oh, dude, wait a second.
because we hit 700 degrees there.
There we go.
Ooh, toasty.
Yeah, quite toasty. All right, so now I want to be able to
Does it
see.
give you
There we
numbers?
go. So right now, yeah, it's 200 and it's almost 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's now just the temperature of boiling water.
And that's after a few minutes of...
Yeah, that's after a few minutes of calming down. But this is a way we can check and see like whether we've got to the right temperature.
Yeah. That's great.
With
yeah.
that third hand we all have.
Yeah. Just hold it in your mouth while
Exactly. No. Now, there's another part of the top of this that didn't fully get abrased.
Right.
So we deal with that later.
We'll flip it. Want to give it a go?
Let's do it.
Okay. I think probably the easiest place to start would be one of the ends.
One of these ends.
One of those ends. I think that's the easiest place to start.
On the underarm panel.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then we'll come around to doing these.
That's like more advanced.
This one's a little bit more advanced.
Okay. All right. So if we're doing this, do we do it all at once where we set all four of the things up simultaneously?
Yeah, that's how I do it.
All right. I'm down with that. I like gang construction.
And then once you've done one end, you can just like grab some pliers, flip it around, do the other side while it's already warm.
Right. All right.
And so, yeah, so we're going to do that seam right there.
Oh, we're not even doing it from the front.
Not that one.
Oh, I love it. All right, I'm going to set up the other one. John, I love this clamp system. It's just that one little slice there. I made that with my cutoff saw. I'm astounded. There seem to be entire YouTube channels where people build things like cars with nothing but a cutoff saw.
Well, some people like a challenge.
If you only had one tool.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Now
right, but I haven't sanded anything.
Right.
So let's got to get to that. All right, here we go.
Sanding, always exciting video.
Okay, so now this feels like it's nicely set up.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to put some little weight in the middle. No. Go.
You're right. Or not so much.
This is your backstop.
Yeah, not so much weight, I would say, as much as you're heating it.
Yeah.
The differential heating causes things to move a little bit.
Yeah.
So you do want to watch that edge to make sure that it doesn't drop below or rise above or something like that.
Gotcha.
And some of that we can fix by just like sort of pushing on it with something else.
Right.
I tried putting a weight on it before, and it pushed it down below where I wanted
While
it to
it
be.
was heating.
Yeah.
Fair.
So it's a balance.
Balance.
Ooh, the flame gives a different color.
Yeah, and it always sort of tries to keep it within the same color range, even though the temperature might go up.
This is like purples and yellows, and then when that flame comes in, it goes green.
What am I at, like 300?
It's telling me 99, but that's... Oh, there we go. That just jumped up to about 260 or something.
I don't see too much movement on the
Yeah.
thing. It seems like it's going all right.
All right.
I've gone with a much lighter gas flame here.
All right, so now just focus on one end, and we'll see where we're getting to. Right now, it's only telling me 280, 320, kind of bounces around a bit. I think the aluminum and the thinness like wicks away a lot of the heat very quickly. Looks like we're getting up close to 300 or something now. You can try just sort of scraping it along to see what happens.
Oh,
there you go.
that's happening.
And you're going to want to get it. Yeah, there you go, up on the upper seam. That's it. It's
What? This is crazy, John.
It's funny. This thing's telling me it's only like 300 degrees, but
No, then maybe turn it off. I don't want to fuck
now be
with
careful.
glue.
You're not heating the stick with,
Oh,
with
okay.
the flame. You want to heat the metal and then even pull the flame away.
Back and forth. There's no discoloration that shows you, but I sort of... Oh, actually, I kind of feel like I want to do...
Yeah, maybe switch hands. You're ambidextrous. Let's try... Ooh, it's almost grabbing. Okay. I think you're on top of the centerpiece and not getting the end piece.
All right. Not pretty.
All right.
But dude!
We'll let it cool.
Really?
Ta-da!
Ooh, that one's hot.
Now we can come in and do
that little bit, that little bit.
And that's going to get ground down, but
right.
But you can get those corners. And you don't need to heat the whole thing.
Right, I can just get right in there. Okay.
And remember, kind of scratch the stick across the surface.
Wow.
It might be
helpful.
Yeah. Just give you something to push against.
Thank you.
And something heavy to keep it from moving. Straight. There you go.
Yes!
Yeah, that goes
nice! Oh, that's super cool! Oh, I'm so into this. Plus, you can start to see where it softens on the other seam.
Yeah.
And the moment you see that...
Then you know it's hot enough.
Yeah. So do you go in then and also do the fronts?
And then, then I'll come in and I'll just kind of
you'll sand a little bit too.
And then, yes, I come in and
right.
knock it all down to the aesthetics. But there's your side vent.
I'm just like, I'm so freaking thrilled.
And then all you have to do is just, kind of grind the back to fit.
Right. But it is a very robust joint. It's not like a solder joint in that it's super soft. This is aluminum to aluminum.
It is this. You'll find actually that this stuff is harder than the aluminum.
When you're sanding it.
When you have to sand it or file it, yeah. The filler is actually harder.
Incredible. Can I watch you do one?
Sure.
I love these clips, man. It's not often you find bullshit clips that are actually good.
Yeah, and they are. These are like cheap Amazon, literally cheap. And I kind of I was looking for like super cheap ones because I figured then the spring would be really weak.
Right.
Because I don't want a lot of clamping force. I tried those big spring clamps before and it just distorted the metal, especially once it got hot.
Oh, right, because it's putting pressure on the whole time.
Yeah, and then it gets hot and suddenly you're like, bending it.
I love it when you're trying to work with the cheapness on purpose. Right?
I'm going to try your little thing.
What I like about this is the flexi. The flexi gives me...
Well, and it gives you a nice lightweight handle.
I really appreciate
mine
that.
You have the whole bottle with you, so it's a bit more of a chore. Okay, so how do I use this?
You just,
That's it.
And I think it'll stay... Will it stay lit? Does it have a trigger?
I'm just gonna hold it because that's what I'm used to doing.
And now you're just getting the whole thing hot.
Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to warm the whole shooting match up. So.
This is from lifetime experience of metal moving in funny ways when you heat it locally.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, I've learned a lot of this from just reading websites and YouTube stuff.
Right.
And just trying to...
I got into a rhythm earlier where I could feel like I could keep it hot ahead of the stick, and I can imagine you can get a pretty fine hand at this.
Yeah, and sometimes you can feel it kind of just starting to grab.
Wow.
And then... But I try to pull the flame away. There we go.
Wow.
And my crunchy shoulder's not doing
it doesn't wick like the normal silver solder does. It's a funny one.
Yeah, it's almost like the scraping pushes it in.
Right. Wow.
Oh, it is hanging on. There we go. Ta-da!
Dude. So this is a funny one in which aluminum's ability to move and dissipate heat becomes to your advantage because this will stay cool enough to not let go while you're working on this end.
Yeah, because the other end,
Every metal has its own proclivities, right? Like brass wants a super hot local source so you don't melt everything else because it's going to get hot enough where
it'll get hot and it'll melt all your other joints. Yeah.
I recently had occasion to soften some copper. Do you know how you anneal copper? You get it orange hot and then you quench it immediately. The opposite of all other
Every other metal.
And when you do that, copper gets like as soft as leather.
Oh, really?
It's shocking.
I've never tried that.
No,
Does it
I
work
know.
with brass that way too?
No, brass. I don't think so.
Because that's another copper alloy. But
Yeah, no, but brass doesn't work harden in the same. It work hardens,
Right.
but you can just anneal it with heat.
And then
with
you just let it
copper,
cool.
it anneals faster when you quench it.
Science.
Somebody's science. Yeah. All right, so what's next on the? You gonna turn this around?
Yeah, I just afraid to touch it.
Oh, fair.
Me get burnt. Actually, something I'm seeing is it's starting to bend away.
Oh.
If you could maybe.
Do you want me to? Yep, I gotcha. A little
and
bit of
use that
pressure on
just,
top.
just to push down
Yep,
on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There we go. Maybe that'll go away once everything's warmed up, but
It's funny. It does give you sort of a tactile hint that you're close, doesn't it?
there we go.
That was
Let
it.
it cool. There she blows. Wow. Now just let it cool off.
Also, by the way, I can see that I left a mark with my pushing. Like that's how soft this
That's
stuff
how
gets.
soft. Yeah, you can see the little mark there, and I can feel the heat.
So your brazing rod, you were saying this is Harbor Freight brazing rod.
Yeah, believe it or not,
This is the preferred.
It ranks very highly. There's some other ones that are even better, but there was a fella on YouTube who did a whole comparison of about like 6 or 8 different brands.
Amazing. Sorry, the sneeze there. And it doesn't take much. We've already done a couple things, and we've barely used a couple of inches of rod.
Yeah, well, and like I think this costs maybe like $8 or something like that.
Dude, so like just to be clear, most of the original R2-D2s from Star Wars are entirely built this way. Like the shoulders are wrapped around pieces of plate.
Yeah, all the little bits, like these things are all just built up layers of thin aluminum like that.
And even I remember
little
seeing
slot.
one of the pieces that I grabbed was one of these is even constructed that way, I think.
It's amazing. I mean, the guys who do this or did the originals must have been like doing this all the time.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, the easy way to do that is just fold it up and it works.
Amazing. I was
Like
really
this silver gap in here
Yeah.
is actually the exposed aluminum underneath the outer layer.
Which is presumably that would also be.
Yeah, it's just there was so much of that in this. Like the panels on here were all, it's just 2 layers of aluminum.
But I do remember handling this piece and being shocked that it was totally hollow.
Yeah. Now there are machined parts on too.
Yeah, some of these guys are-
These are machined aluminum. These bits are machined. This part. That.
These guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But.
Amazing.
Like all these
That's
the
done the
coin
exact
slot,
same way. Have you
same
made
way.
a coin slot yet?
I haven't yet. I want to make a set of these in aluminum because I haven't, or aluminium. I work with a lot of British guys now. These are just those plastic ones.
Yeah.
So
I
wanna replace
bought
those.
a set of slotted aluminum ones years ago, and those are in my R2.
I'd love to get like aluminum surrounds as well.
Yeah,
but
I
these
paid
are just
for a set
these
of
are
those,
just
too.
castings at the moment.
This is real. This makes me want to just start building a whole one from scratch.
Do the whole shooting match. Well, let's see. It took me 22 years to finish mine. You got yours done in 5.
5 years.
So
I took it. It was actually the very first break between seasons season 2 and 3 of MythBusters. And I went into M7, and I had 6 full days, unbroken time.
nothing else to do.
Yeah, and that's what it took.
Glorious.
It took like 65 hours of work.
I'm surprised you did that fast.
It was, towards the end, you know what it was? I was obsessing over all these details, and then 2 days before the end, I was obsessing over the skirt because I couldn't find the mold that we had made for the skirt, and I was like getting all bent out of shape about it. And then I realized the skirt's not that complex. I could build it from scratch. So I'm building it from scratch out of MDF and styrene, and I'm getting obsessive about some corners. And I'm like, why am I getting obsessive? R2 is beat to hell. And I released myself of all these aesthetic perfections because I was about to hit him with a hammer. In fact, there's this dent. There's this dent on the back of one of the heroes. And I literally put like 5 layers of leather and a ball peen hammer, and I swung it at him to get the dent.
I hammered a dent out of R2's head.
Did you really?
Yeah, one of the R2s at some sort of like in-person showing thing, fell over backwards and hit a curb. So it curved like right into the back of the head.
Yeah.
And so they came back and they're like, "Hey, John, can you fix this?" So yeah, I took all the bits out of it and we just hammered and dolly worked to get the head back into shape. And the pocket itself is actually slightly bigger than the opening.
That's what I was thinking.
That way you can center it and then we can open it up later. And I actually find if you put them slightly at an angle, it holds.
Oh yeah, because they get a little more space.
Those things, they have little rounded tips on them.
Yep.
And it's actually impressive that you got it to stay the first time when you had it flat onto it. So you saw how I was sort of like dragging it along every once in a while?
I totally did. That there was this key moment at which you started just doing that business.
Yeah. It wicks away the heat fast enough that you can kind of just sort of stay. I mean, you've got the whole thing warm now.
Yeah.
So now I think you can kind of just stay on one area and just kind of heat that one spot.
Now it's starting to flex away.
Is it?
Will you give me some pressure up top?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Is that good? There you go, it's flowing. Careful not to heat the stick. Heat the metal and then just drag the stick. There you go. I think you got it. Beautiful.
Dude.
Those sides look fantastic.
Going right for them with everything else hot was really nice. And that it's funny that the scraping is just mission critical in terms of getting that feel.
Yeah, I was. What I learned was that it's actually just getting through that layer of oxidization.
So you could do this if you were in a vacuum.
Yeah. Hold your breath. Right. Sand the parts in vacuum.
All right. So now we can presumably turn around and try this business.
Yeah, it's all still warm, so.
Yeah. All right.
Let me know if you need assistance.
Woo!
Yeah, those are better than the first one.
And it's so light. That's the crazy part is how like I'm used to soldering and stuff with brass.
Yeah, I know this one weighs a bit because it has the bars in it. But without the bars, it's just.
That's amazing. Oh, I feel like, new skills feel like a whole new vista opens up.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's when I was starting to do this, I was like, well, I'm not that good of a welder. And then I looked into brazing. I was like, oh, hey,
wait a minute.
That's a skill I could try.
I brazed aluminum once about 30 years ago. And I was making a Steadicam and I needed a pole mounted to a plate and there was no other way I could do it. And I saw aluminum brazing at the hardware store once and bought it, never tried it, and somehow got it right once. And then never again. Every other time I tried it, and it was about the oxidation layer.
Yeah, and the only other time I'd even heard about it was Pierre Maurer. When I was competing in BattleBots, he made a holder for the gas tank on my robot, and he brazed it together with aluminum, or brazed aluminum with this. Yeah. To circle back to the whole accuracy thing of our building our R2s, I decided wanted to sort of target the New Hope stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and
You've got to land on one.
yeah, because I don't want to disparage because there's other vents that are available on the market that are totally legit because they're used on the new Disney films.
Right.
Right.
I mean, and actually, a lot of the R2s banging around ILM have vacuum formed side panels that are vacuum formed off of the originals.
Yeah. So there's plastic versions of this, and there's
which are totally sufficient
versions.
and canon.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. There's so accuracy is a moving target.
Constantly moving target. Okay, I'm assuming that the next join we're going to do, which is this one, is the most complex of these.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we actually just did the most complicated part.
That was the hardest part.
Because really, the next bit you're going to be doing is the same thing you did before up here on the side vent. You're just going to be doing it down here to attach.
Oh, right. So it's a pair of bull clips.
And so what we'll want to do is we'll put it on there, and then we'll want to make sure that we kind of like adjust the.
Because this one's it's bent a little bit. I bent
so you want to adjust the curve to make sure that it suits.
Let me grab some flat jaws. Oh man, you're bending. I can see also bending is really tricky to get it exactly right.
Oh yeah. Yes, it certainly is. Your tempo is about twice mine right now.
You should hear what it's like in here.
Well, that.
Yeah, I think I'll fix that when I come back over here to do that one.
Careful, those are going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it did move down. I think what we can do is heat it up.
In the middle? Well, let's do the outsides and then heat it up in the middle on the other side and give it a little push.
Yeah, careful, don't burn yourself.
I will.
You want me to throw this one together?
Thank you.
Yeah.
In the interest of
actually getting done.
I also noticed that there's a twisting motion that can kind of help.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, doing kind of this into a thing. I'm noticing that is assistive.
That's the beauty of it. Always learning. One thing that I find entertaining about this is when you first warm up the metal, you get this condensation coming off of it. Yeah. It's like this weird color change stuff. It's just very satisfying.
Oh, this is so cool, John.
Yay.
Dude, I'm starting to actually being able to sort of anticipate where and how it will flow, and it feels awesome.
Yeah. You are becoming one with the grazing.
Oh, right. And then there's still face cleanup to do. Mm-hmm. Face cleanup!
Oh, let's see. I think we just got everything stuck together now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got the.
Oh, you got that one. Yeah. So now we are doing face cleanup.
Yeah. So don't touch that. It's hot.
No, I'm going to bring this one. Let's see my tot moment.
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny, when I first learned how to weld, I was so excited by that. You weld it together, tack, and then it cools, and you instantly lift up what was two metal parts, and now it's one.
Yep.
And then feeling like, oh my God.
It's primordial. You're like, I made something permanent.
And there's a similarity to this too, like especially because it cools pretty quickly.
Right.
It's like you just finish, and then by the time you've grabbed your pliers, you can pick the thing up, and it's not going to fall apart on you or anything.
Well, it's also like I'm picturing in my head, my God, I could buy a plate of soft aluminum and have an R2 foot within a weekend. There you go. Okay. So there's that guy. You know about screw holding pliers, don't you?
Say what?
I'll show you after this. I got another tool for you. You're gonna have to buy. Yep. Now I can hear it's a little duller of a scrape.
And then, like you mentioned before, when you can see like the pre-existing joint start to soften, you know you're about there.
Oh. I figure I can sand it all down.
Yeah. I try not to use too much because, like I said, it's hard.
Yeah.
So sanding it. Yeah, that kind of a scrape like you just did that's really good. Yeah, that was kind of.
Oh, we're so close. I can feel you. Also, my bar is getting hot.
Oh yeah, you're getting to.
I am.
You're almost to the end of that one.
I am. I know. I'm impatient and I'm dumbly thrifty about it.
Well, yeah. You want to use this one instead?
This one's already hot. There we go. It's the last joint with this one. Ooh, look at that. Come on, give me that last little bit.
Stable.
Oh yeah, those pliers. Take a look at their tips.
They've seen some heat.
Yep. So take a look at the tip of those. That's meant for holding a screw or something round while you're sanding it. They make them in every different size and form factor. I have like 6 different
because you always put it in like this, and then inevitably it's trying to twist and come out of or.
Yeah, so I feel like this is almost like a belt sander moment.
Yeah, those are I already did those. So those. What I use is a finger sander.
Oh, I've got a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yes. Hold on.
But yeah, a belt would work as well.
Well, it is a belt.
Well, yeah. You know what I mean.
All right, let me see about my East German finger sander here.
Oh, it's electric.
Yes.
I want one. That's a speed control.
That's shaping up nicely.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't believe they're R2-D2 jewel parts. They feel just like they should. And then these guys slot in here. Just like that. Oh my God, they actually are almost snapping in. Crazy.
They're the same. I mean, and that's part of the way it's constructed too, because you can control that distance.
Right.
So you know exactly how
dude.
big that slot's going to be.
What's it, 4 per?
Yeah, 4. And they're just basically equidistant.
So I want to get just one of these finished, and my inclination is to just hit the middle of this panel with a little blue marking fluid.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Within the canon of R2-D2, there is much debate over the actual correct color blue that is R2-D2's blue color. And in general, there is an agreement that it is probably simply machinist's marking fluid. You have seen me use it on the channel many times. My favorite stuff is made by a company called Dieckman, and I'm going to run a little bit of this layout fluid, which is basically a lacquer, through my airbrush. I'm gonna let it dry, I'm gonna hit it with a clear coat, then I'm gonna glue the struts right on top of it, or double stick them.
Prequel blue.
Yeah, that's the purple undercoat with the candy blue on top.
Yeah, purple under and the clear, yeah.
And the clear coat blues it right up.
It does. Wow.
All right.
Yeah, look at that.
Damn, brother. Oh no, that's at 40 PSI. All right. Feels muy auténtico.
Really close.
You know, the reason I come back to the marking blue is that Like I'm thinking about these aerospace guys and they're like, oh, you want like a reflective blue? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. It's the first thing they have. It's the first thing anyone would think of. So why wouldn't they use it?
Sure.
There's no, yeah. All right, let's, this is always like Christmas. Oh, yeah. Pretty. All right, my taping could have been a little bit better. But yes, okay. Let's go put some struts on that. Oh my God, removing the sticky backing. That would be a superpower I'd like. To always be able to remove the sticky backing quickly. Twink. Good. Good. Okay.
Another?
There we go. Thank you for your help.
You betcha.
What'd you call me?
Ba-dum-bump.
Splitting the difference. Oh, muy auténtico R2 parts. You know, this just makes me want to start building another R2, right? Believe me, I've gone back through my old folders and it's like the level of rabbit hole that was for me is just something.
What would you do differently?
I love the idea of building it like the old ones. Building it a little bit thicker in the leg construction because on the original ones, the ankles broke all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That
strengthen up the mechanical
strengthen up
bits.
the parts where it needs strengthening, and the ankle is just the weakest link in the whole chain. But no, what I would, sorry about hitting my mic. What I would do differently than my first R2 is I want one that's unpainted. I want one all aluminum like the OG. Yeah.
Oh, that would be pretty. Just
know.
have that sitting in the corner there.
And I've actually...
And you could do it up. You can just call it some other R.
Yes, yeah, R shiny. I looked into it, and given the various groups, it is possible to spend and buy a complete R2's worth of parts. But it's like, it's the low five figures. It's real money. It's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just slowly start to assemble it out of some soft aluminum like this, because that feels really good. And I just love that. Yeah, so you can see, the Dieckman is a little blue,
It's a slightly more purple.
Yep.
But, you know, that could be accurate for New Hope time.
And this has a purple undercoat.
It does have a purple undercoat.
Yeah.
And you can make it bluer or purpler by how heavy you put your clear coat over it,
Totally. And it looks like I could have stood another clear coat on top of that, right? It's gone matte again a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this, this is the one you just did, and this is prequel blue,
right?
So that's instead of New
just
Hope
to get
blue.
specific.
So you know, if you're trying to like match, then that's the one where you get to chase your tail for trying. Which shot should I match it to?
Exactly, dude. Number one, thanks for coming up with an excuse to hang out.
Sure.
Number two, thank you for the new skill, dude. This is amazing.
You bet. I hope you enjoy putting them on your robot.
Oh my God, my robot I don't have yet.
Well,
a new robot I don't. Yes.
Well, you can put it on your old one too.
And you're selling these on a Etsy site, or are you selling them?
I'm selling them through the R2 Builders Club.
Okay.
And through the Replica Prop Forum.
We'll include a link in the description.
Right on.
Dude, thank you so much for an awesome day.
You bet. It's been a blast.
We will see you guys next time. Cheers.